What is up, guys? Fadeaway82 coming at you with a video on the Rust community. This video was inspired by Vertigo's video called The Rust Community Old and New, and it's not a response video to his. It was inspired by it, so I wanted to give him credit for it because it is the genesis of this video. So the commentary that you're listening to is put together over some previous raid camp footage and some screenshots that I had from Rust Legacy. When you're looking at the screenshots from Rust Legacy, take note of the players, the buildings, the fact that they were trending towards what looks like compounds, and I think it's important to understand Rust from Legacy up to where it is now. We'll get into that in a moment. But I just also wanted to say that I have a tremendous amount of respect for Vertigo as a content creator and as a person, and this video is, as his was, my opinions and thoughts on Rust. I would encourage anyone else to do one as well. So it's nothing more than that. I hope the subs don't become toxic and turn it into some stupid war. That's not the case at all. We're allowed to have differing opinions, and we're still friends at the end of the day. We knew each other from way back when, and we had a lot of good conversations when our channels were much smaller. So in terms of these screenshots from Rust Legacy, I think you can see that, players did group together to raid, and compounds were big. Large wooden compounds were built in Rust with walls around them. Large metal bases were built that were unraidable. And that was in Rust Legacy. That's when I started playing Rust, which was the second week that it came out on Steam. And it was an absolutely brutal experience. You got steamrolled by groups of people. I never remember a group of 40 people, but I believe that would have been the case if Rust Legacy had continued. So I don't think that the behavior is any different, and I don't think that anything has trended any differently. It's really the same mentality, just in a different skin. In terms of the new Rust, it was off to a rocky start when it first hit. It wasn't at Legacy baseline. A lot of Legacy players were butthurt, myself included. I didn't get back into Rust until about early 2015 when it became fun again, in my opinion, to play. So some Rust players might have an experience where they never played Legacy and they're only comparing new Rust to what Rust is currently, which is a differing opinion than someone who played Legacy from that first origin to where it is now. No opinion is better than another, but with regard to the player behavior, I'm not offended with where it is currently because I saw it in Legacy at a much smaller scale. It was certainly a microcosm, and the bases we're seeing now are much bigger, but that's due to increased resource gathering, other ways to generate resources or gather resources like the quarries, and the raiding is bigger because the bases are bigger. To raid bases in Rust right now, you need groups of about 40 people to even have a chance getting through the layers of high exterior stone walls. So a lot of the large clans need to exist to be able to even have a chance of raiding the bases that are being built. So the two have sort of a symbiotic relationship. Large clans exist with large bases. If you changed one, perhaps you would change the other. I don't know, but I think that there's something that you have to consider, that the reflection of the Rust, what is called the Rust community, I guess the better term for it is Rust player base. I don't think the Rust community is the same, but the player base is doing what the developers have given us the ability to do, which is build structures to the best of our ability, as big as we feasibly can, and also tools to fight with one another. They haven't implemented systems or spent a lot of time on systems that would be indicative of them wanting to create a game that isn't PvP focused. It certainly could move in that direction in the future, and at that point we'll all have to reevaluate the Rust experience, if it's for us, if it's not for us. So who knows? As Gary stated before, he could flip a switch and turn it into a game where purple dragons are pissing out unicorns at us. Who knows what it could be? But chances are it's going to be something similar to what it was like in Legacy and what it's like now. I do agree that servers can seem very empty, even on a 300-player server. You can often log on and not interact with people as much as I would like. So that is something that I don't know how you leverage game systems to be able to make players interact more. But in terms of the clannish mentality, I don't think that that's ever going to change. I think that that's human behavior, and I think we see that in Rust just as we would see it in the real world. It happened in Legacy, and it certainly exists now. Lots of people have proposed systems about putting in safe zones or PvP flags or any restrictions, and that really, guys, is not vanilla Rust. If you want those things, there's modded servers that can offer you those restrictions. If you want a modified Rust play experience to fit more in line with how you perceive the game should be played, you might be able to find that. If you can't find it, you might be able to program a mod to be able to do that. Rust is a game that's really has a lot of possible realities when it comes to modding. But in terms of the possible reality for vanilla, it is only one, and it is what the developers intend it to be. So who knows how it could change, but as it is right now, it is a game that is raiding and PvP focused. It's also building focused. But it's not right to blame raid cams for raiding, just as it's not right to say that Rust cribs or a video like that would have contributed to people wanting to build bigger bases. That's just something that's endemic to Rust. People would want to do that whether they saw a video on it or not. The videos are simply capturing player behavior. I also wanted to say that the Rust community is a community that is comprised of largely adults who do not comment on Reddit and who do not make YouTube videos. So if Facepunch listens too much to the Rust community, myself included, they get a skewed perspective on things. So because Rust is a very mature game, and I believe that the majority of the player base are adults, adult males specifically, but they don't take the time to post on Reddit. They don't take the time to offer their opinions to Facepunch, to the Rust community. And that's something that is what it is. They're busy, they devote a lot of time to Rust already, and they want to spend their other time doing things like sticking their penis in their wife, or drinking a beer, or just having a good time living life, whatever it may be. But they do devote a lot of time to Rust still, and this does make them come across sometimes as very salty or very paranoid, building bigger bases, raiding people offline to get the best resource yield. And those things aren't bad necessarily, because it's what players do. Offline raiding does suck, but it is sometimes the only way they can get to loot without having it be despawned, and it's the best way for them to get the loot. It's just player behavior, and I don't think we can shame that. It's what the game is, and if it's not the game for you, I don't mean that to Vertigo, but if it's not the game for you as someone watching this video, you can move on to another game. You don't have to stay with Rust. There are certainly aspects to Rust player behavior that no one likes. No one likes getting rolled over by a group of, 20 people. No one really likes a tower camper, but I support the freedom to allow those things to exist, because I want to play a game that would allow me the ability to join a large clan and the ability to occasionally snipe someone from a tower. So I think it's hard to limit player behavior, and it's a slippery slope. The minute you start limiting one thing and Facepunch starts responding to that, then what else is next? You don't like the way that a sign looks, or that, it just is a slippery slope. And Ultima Online is a great case and study for a game that went to shit for pandering too much to certain aspects of the community. So hope you guys enjoyed. Fado82, peace.